Davao City, one of the most vibrant economies in the world. And the world comes together because life is here. As Mindanao's primary investment hub, the city boasts its outstanding transport connection, production technologies, favorable climate, and vast fertile land suitable for agribusiness. As one of Davao City's strongest sectors, the abundant supply of agricultural products and availability of raw materials along with low labor costs make food manufacturing and other value-adding activities viable for investors. The city's top commodity produce include banana, coconut oil, and pineapple, exported to different parts of Asia, reaching as far as Europe, Middle East, and the United States. Hailed as one of the most secured and livable cities in the world, Davao City is your best investment destination, especially in agribusiness and trade. Now is the best time to invest here. Come and invest in Davao City.
Nestled at the fullness of the Orient Seas, scattered gems of wonders right at the heart of the center of the Coral Triangle, the Philippines, with its 7,100 more islands, is a brewing paradise for your seafood pleasure. A country of infinites and teeming marine life sprawled across 220 million hectares of water, the Philippines is home to the world's richest marine biodiversity. As one of the world's top fish producers, we give more than your usual regular seafood experience. Live, fresh, smoked, frozen, dried, fresh frozen, seasoned or plain, we offer the best variety for your seafood fancy, however you like them to be. A socially and economically significant sector in the Philippines, fisheries provide livelihood to over 1.7 million fisherfolk. The bountiful seafood are caught sustainably using environment-friendly fishing gears from the seas that are dutifully managed, conserved, and protected for future generations. Coastal communities flourish and transform into lively, thriving eco-districts, generating employment for fisherfolk and their families. Our seafood products have undergone meticulous selection and production process. Each product is prepared and transported from fish source to production sites using best practices in food handling and safety guidelines. Food safety experts ensure that our fishery establishments, seafood processing plants, cold storage facilities, and warehouses follow quality standards from the world's food safety authorities. From the abundance enjoyed by our people, the Philippines now shares the same delight to various countries in different parts of the world. canned, bottled, fresh, or fresh frozen, it is our commitment to constantly boost and innovate the variety of our traditional and value-added fishery products. An array of tastes and flavors, a bursting concoction of delectable seafood found in the world's richest marine biodiversity. We are the Philippines. Choose our fish. Choose the Philippine seafood.
The agricultural landscape of the Philippines is the backbone of the rural agricultural small household farmers, agricultural entrepreneurs, local agri-based manufacturing industry. With the Rapid Growth Project, the Philippine government envisions a strongly rooted, comfortable, and secured life to every Filipino. The project is a value chain development-based program involving market-driven agri-production and processing to achieve global market integration, covering 4 commodity value chains in 7 regions and 20 provinces, including Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. This can be achieved through the partnership among government agencies, financial institutions, and the private sector collaborating to provide strategic interventions, such as direct assistance through matching grants for productive investments in order to address market failures and encourage private sector investment, institutional strengthening, technical assistance to the rural financial service providers, innovative agri-financing, and management support, converging to include market-driven agri-production, increase productive capacity of small farmers to strengthen market linkage to benefit from the gain of commercial partnerships, transforming small farmers to become agripreneurs and bring trabajo, negosyo, and kabuhayan for men, women, indigenous peoples, and persons who are differently abled. To reach more agri-based cooperatives and rural financial institutions to further develop more MSMEs and build commercial business partnerships with the rural communities. We can strengthen and sustain market linkages in the local and global market and achieve inclusive and sustainable economic development. The Rapid Growth Project is a value chain development. It is about inclusion, convergence, and collaboration.
At Land Bank, we work hard to create and provide you with products suitable to your needs, complemented by a delightful customer service experience. We are Land Bank, and we are here to help you grow wherever you are. With our array of financial solutions, as well as our development lending programs, we make sure that everyone enjoys the many benefits of banking with us. We bring our financial services closer to more Filipinos beyond the 4 walls of our branches. Now and in the coming years, Land Bank commits to serving you better. And with your support and our continued partnership, we can make a lasting impact on the lives of more and more Filipinos. We are Land Bank. We bank on Filipino ingenuity and perseverance that have no bounds. We're about sharing hopes and ambitions and nurturing them to life. We revere partnerships in the spirit of cooperation as keys to success. We believe in the Filipinos' aspiration of triumph. We believe in you. Whatever your dream, whatever your goal, we are here to help you grow. This is our mission, And this is our promise to you.
Most business operations and economic activities worldwide were put on hold due to the coronavirus pandemic. With this situation, Magsige MPC has adopted the present situation in order to ensure the continuity of the cooperative operations despite from the pandemic and rolled out the 4 identified strategies. Transition to online operations and cashless transactions, launching of community response programs, explore other income-generating activities, and following the protocols for the COVID outbreak while executing the strategies. Transition to online operations and cashless transactions. The enforced lockdown during the coronavirus outbreak saw many organizations and businesses adopting a work-from-home scheme and shifting towards digital and cashless transactions as part of Magsige MPC's business continuity plan and adopt to the so-called new normal. Magsige MPC is now implementing its major shift to digitalize its operations. It had launched its own website via www.magsigempc.com to gain competitive advantage and improve the cooperative's image. This will help the cooperative in getting more leads and prospects, increase sales, enhance the Magsige MPC's professional brand, and ultimately improve its customer service. Aside from the website, the cooperative also engaged in putting up of different social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube with the same purpose to gain competitive advantage and ultimately improve its customer service. And with a partnership of Magsige MPC to the country's latest digital platform that will revolutionize the way cooperatives serve their members, DG Co-op. The platform enables the member to transact online. No need to line up for loan application. No need to wait for weeks to receive claims and benefits. Introducing the DG Co-op Wallet app and Circle Card, where members will receive their payout, claims, and benefits without lining up. Apply loans online. No need to go to any Magsige MPC offices and pay your dues in over 40,000 payment centers. And the most exciting feature of the platform, cooperative members can shop online via DG Co-op Marketplace, linked to Magsige MPC online store and the Magsige MPC Co-op Mart. Launching of community response programs. In times of severe crisis, like the coronavirus outbreak, it is fitting for Magsige MPC to channel the spirit of cooperativism by extending help to affected communities in whatever capacity it could. Such initiatives include production of protective equipment like coverall suits and face masks, continuing partnership with DepEd in the implementation of the cooperative's Adopt a School program, conduct of donation drives in partnership with fellow cooperatives, the LGUs in the private sector to help those in need in these trying times, exploring of other income-generating activities. The coronavirus outbreak had put many business operations in limbo. In these uncertain times, it is crucial for Magsige MPC to look for opportunities that can help generate income for the cooperative. This includes the production of additional relevant product lines for garments manufacturing, such as the production of bed sheets and pillowcases, undergarments, and fashionable face masks under the brand Gray. Also, it is timely for the co-op to engage into agri-production, including coffee and banana. Other opportunities include on-demand delivery service, Magsige MPC online store that will bring the store at the doorsteps of our customers. There is also a great opportunity in the housekeeping services. The reason why Magsige MPC launched its housekeeping services, its workforce with NC2 certification from TESTA. It is also the pride of the cooperative of having its own training and assessment center, accredited by TESTA, with accreditation numbers 20201124 TRSHSK213012 and ACHSK021124192130 respectively. Following the protocols for the COVID outbreak while executing the strategies, Magsige MPC puts on top the safety and health of the personnel executing the projects. With the health and sanitary protocols to be implemented, no doubt that the cooperative can respond and adapt to the new norms despite of the pandemic. Inspired by its tagline for the year 2020, Magsige MPC will continue to engage in the available possibilities and will show the world that we can.
In 1968, the Chamber of Commerce of the Philippines came down to Davao to invite some businessmen here to form the local chamber to be affiliated with them. So a group of young executives headed by Attorney Ramon Tirol, Edmundo Madrazo, Joe Custodio, Joe Sibilia, those are core group that organized the Davao City Chamber of Commerce.
Of course, this is a Chamber of Commerce. The objective is to form a group so that we can have one voice for the business in our relation, firstly with the government, and secondly, in relation to other chambers, especially the national chambers and the other chambers of commerce abroad.
Davao City Chamber, or any business chamber for that matter, is supposed to help small and medium-scale business improve their business. Now, how do we do that? It brings all the small business together, particularly their problem with the local government or national government. There are other concerns such as wanting to meet with their supplier, wanting to meet with a potential customer, or wanting to meet with a peer businessman in the same industry.
Davao City Chamber of Commerce and Industry Incorporated, as the voice of the business sector of Davao City, has been actively conducting monthly membership meetings in order to know the recent trends and updates on business sector, and as well as get some insights, concerns, and issues of business community. With the Chamber's active involvement on the crucial issues surrounding the business community, it led to activities such as the dialogue on the proposed Davao Sasa Port Modernization Project, Forum on the Third Proposal Valuation Revision, and the Bangsamoro Basic Law Forum. This is on top of the major events that Davao City Chamber conducts, such as the Davao Agri-Trade Expo and Davao Investment Conference, in order to encourage investments in Davao and Mindanao in general.
Purpose of our membership in the chamber is first and foremost for business growth. The chamber represents for us a vehicle or venue for our companies, products, and services to be able to reach a wider or larger audience. And this is done by the activities and events that the chamber undertakes, such as the trade expositions, the symposia, the business conferences. These activities allow companies from here and abroad to get together and explore what they might want to undertake together in terms of projects or advocacies.
Monthly meetings of the Chamber have provided us a fertile ground for obtaining this information from the speakers, from the guest speakers of the monthly meetings, and from the issues and discussions that are raised by the Chamber members, thereby enabling us to have a comprehensive view of the information that we need to be able to support our plans for running our businesses.
We consider the Davao City Chamber of Commerce and Industry as a very important partner in our advocacy for SME development as well as business development. They have been our partners since the DTI started back in 1987, and we really honed that partnership, develop and strengthen so that we can reach more MSMEs. We have implemented joint projects with the Davao City Chamber of Commerce. We have our SME Center. We have our mentoring of SMEs, as well as We have partnered in several big events such as their institutionalized date and other investment forum activities. And we wouldn't have done it that well without the Davao City Chamber of Commerce.
The chamber also is giving priority to anything that would improve tourism, in the sense that tourism contributes a lot to what they call inclusive growth. The Davao Chamber is into advocacy to make everyone involved or stakeholders in the port understand how the port is doing and what to expect in the future.
The partnership between the city government and the Davao City Chamber of Commerce has always been grounded on two values, that is on cooperation and on support. They have always been actively engaged in the formulation of programs that has helped propel the business environment of Davao City, sitting as among the representatives of the private sector in the different boards and committees of the local government.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 22nd Davao Agri-Trade Expo webinar entitled Agricultural Logistics Systems Under the New Normal. To formally start, we will begin with the invocation followed by the singing of the Philippine National Anthem.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فقال ربكم ادعوني أستجب لكم آمين يا رب العالمين الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين اللهم اجمع شمل المسلمين والكريستيان والأمة في مدينة دافاو وسلم دائما مجتمعنا هذا بالسلم والأمن والتقدم في بلدنا هذا آمين يا رب العالمين ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وصلى الله على خير خلقه سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين آمين يا رب العالمين.
In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we come to you today to praise and worship you and give you thanks for all the things you continue to provide for ourselves and our families. Father, we humbly ask for forgiveness for all the times we have offended you, when we forget to acknowledge your presence in the image of our brothers and sisters, and for moments we fail to be good stewards of the blessings you have given us. Continue to guide and protect each one of us, Lord, that we may always walk in the light of your everlasting love and mercy. Grant us, Father, with your comfort in times of distress and with your strength in times of weakness. Bestow upon us your unending grace and healing, that we may in turn become instruments of gentleness and compassion to others. We ask all this in the name of your Son, our Lord Jesus Christ, with the prayer and the intercession of our Blessed Mother. Amen.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang magiliw, telas ng sinakalan, alam ng puso, sa dikit mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyag ka ng magiting, sa manluluping, di ka pasisigil, sa nagagang tutok sa simoy at sa langit mong pagaw, ay hinatang tulad, awit sa pagkayang minamahal. Ang isang ng matawad mo'y tagumpay na nag-iindig, ang bituin at araw niya kailan ang ay di magdidinig. Lumalang araw ng walhagit pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Ang inigaya ng pagkay mga api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Madayao, Mindanao, good day Philippines. Welcome to the first part of the webinar series of the 22nd Davao Agri-Trade Expo. I am Roland Suico and I will be your host for today. Last October 30, 2020, we successfully launched the 22nd Davao Agri-Trade Expo via live streaming. Today, as we start our date webinar series, we are still broadcasting live on Zoom and Facebook. Let us always stay safe by following the health protocols to prevent the further spread of the COVID-19 virus. I would like to greet all of our participants, friends from the media and everyone connecting with us on Zoom and Facebook today. A very pleasant morning, everyone. We hope that you are all staying safe amid the ongoing health emergency. This event is made possible through the unwavering efforts of the Davao City Chamber of Commerce and Industry Incorporated. At this point, I would like also to acknowledge the people who made this event more astonishing. Please watch this. thank you so much to all of you, our dear sponsors. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, this is the first day of the Davao Agri Trade Expo 2020 webinar series. We have a lot of exciting topics in store for you today and in the succeeding webinars as we continue to bounce back under the new normal. To give us her opening remarks, let us all welcome this year's Davao Agri-Trade Expo Chairperson and the Vice President for Industry of Davao Chamber, Ms. Cherilyn Kasuga.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Trustee Roland. Mabuhay og madayaw. I would like to welcome you all to the first part of the Day 2020 webinar series entitled Agricultural Logistics Under the New Normal. Logistics industry has been greatly affected by the COVID-19 pandemic as an integral part of value chains both within and across international borders. Logistics firms facilitate trade and commerce and help businesses get their products to customers. Supply chain disruptions to the sector caused by the pandemic have greatly affected competitiveness, economic growth, and job creation. The impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the logistics have put a strain on businesses. Today's date webinar will enable us to learn about the challenges and opportunities in developing effective and innovative logistics systems for agricultural products, especially under the new normal. To the speakers and panelists, your insights for today would be a great help to us as we bounce back under the new normal. As your chairperson of Day 2020, I would like to take this opportunity to extend my gratitude to all the supporting government offices, corporate sponsors, online trade exhibitors, and event partners, without whom there will be no date. Lastly, I would like to thank the DCCII Board of Trustees and our President John Carlo Tria and the distinguished Davao Chamber members for the unending and unfailing support, trust, and confidence they have provided for the 22nd Davao Agri-Trade Expo. With high hopes, we aim to make this year's date a fruitful event and a memorable experience for each and every one. Once again, good day at mabuhay tayong lahat.
Thank you so much, VP Cherry. Today, we are privileged to be joined by prominent and distinguished speakers who will give us an overview and updates on agricultural logistics systems in the country. To kick off our discussions, let me introduce to you our first speaker for today. Our first speaker has obtained a master's degree in business administration from Ateneo de Manila University and a master's degree in business economics from the University of Pisa in 1977, 1992, and 1995. For 5 years, he became a senior country officer of ASEAN Finance Corporation. He worked on various projects in Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, and Brunei. Also, he became a vice president for the Institutional Banking Group of the Development Bank of the Philippines. He became a member of various international organizations and has written a number of articles on regional economic development, trade financing issues, Islamic banking, and the trade and investment promotion. He has also served as a guest lecturer and speaker of various international conferences held in Southeast Asia, Japan, the United States, Australia, the Middle East, and Europe. He is the corporate secretary of the Japanese Chamber of Commerce in Mindanao and a member of the Canadian Chamber of Commerce. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all welcome the chairman of the Southern Mindanao Business Council of the European Chamber of Commerce in the Philippines, Mr. Antonio Peralta.
Good morning. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone else for giving us the opportunity to share with you our insights on the state of our logistical situation insofar as agriculture is concerned and also other allied industries. I'd like to give a good greetings to a good friend, John Tria, who is the president of the Davao City Chamber of Commerce. Cherry Kasuga is the vice president and in charge of this date event. I'd like to congratulate both of them for taking the initiative to do this, even under the situation that we're in. And also, I'd like to thank Roland Suico, who is our trustee. And I'd like to see if we can get some things going this morning. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
All right. Okay. So perhaps, under the new normal, I think one of those that we need to really consider is really the way we adjust ourselves to the kind of business situation we're in. I mean, when the pandemic started, it really created a good measure of uncertainty and pandemonium as far as business planning is concerned, because this was never anticipated before. In fact, even our disaster risk reduction management plans, if being implemented by local government agencies, never provided for the occurrence of a pandemic. So that itself contributed to the way different LGUs were responding to the pandemic. So we had to continuously be guided, because during that time we had to really rely on the leadership of our government to really show us the way, and at the same time advise us on what to do. It was really like almost very close to a kind of a situation that you thought would only exist in movies. One day you wake up and you get to see that the world has changed, and there's basically nobody in the streets. And it's like seeing a science fiction movie, and it kind of makes you think, is this thing real? Same time last year, we were all very bullish on 2020. We always looked at 2020 as a possible way of us improving as an economy. We were supposed to really be to have graduated to a middle income economy. But now that has taken a backseat, given what our country has gone through with the kind of economic declines in our GDP. This year alone is the most telling and challenging point in our country's economic history. But in all of this, there is always that hope of seeing us emerge from this, and it's being driven by agriculture itself, which managed to show a 1.6% growth since last June. And we believe that this would continue to show some growth. But on the whole, we still have to look at what the entire impact to the economy is. And people are now looking at a 9% decline to 10% decline, as people in Oxford Economics have estimated, and other agencies that have come to see what the situation is. So this morning we will focus on what we need to do as far as agriculture is concerned, and how we can possibly progress from the lessons learned on the way this pandemic has really affected everyone. Again, the pandemic did not only affect agriculture, it affected all sectors. So across the board, as they say, lahat tayo tinamaan dito. So it's something else that we have to really learn from. So I'd like to go on with the presentation. Can you please share the slides? Okay, and given the title to talk about the agriculture logistics systems under the new normal. Okay, next slide, please. So let's look at the present situation. Agriculture continues to be a main source of livelihood and food for marginalized communities. A majority, or an estimated 62.5% of poor workers, depend on agriculture as primary occupation. Again, this is based on 2015 PSA stats, though these need to be updated. There can be no inclusive growth unless the rural farming communities are brought into the growth and development process. Of course, we cannot exclude these rural farming communities because of the very important role they play in the supply chain. And agricultural growth output has underperformed vis-a-vis other economic sectors. The growth of agriculture is really dependent on several factors. So I'd like to show you the next slide, which is the sectoral share to GDP from the last 10 years. You can see from the screen, the large part of sectoral shares went to industry, followed by services, and lastly, agriculture. And if you can see from the left side of the screen, on agriculture, this is on the bottom line of the screen, you could see that it was averaging over 10, I believe 15% in 2009. It went on to decline in 2019 to less than 10%. So again, there is a lot that needs to be done about it. Of course, agriculture itself has its own challenges. And sad to say that the kind of challenges that we have seen in agriculture were the same challenges to a certain extent that I've seen 30 years ago. We have not really improved on this. The same issues 30 years ago, like the lack of post-harvest facilities, the lack of credit facilities to support the growth of the agricultural sector, then of market information, and then poor farm-to-market rules. The same issues are reflected in today's reality. So how can we really move forward with this? And a lot of this has to do also with the way government has shaped up its policies during the time. So, but I still remain confident that given the vision of Secretary Dar for the agricultural sector, that this will soon be addressed. Hopefully it will be addressed because we can't afford to go on running like this as we have seen for the last several years, you know. So next slide, please. So let's look at the Mindanao logistics overview. So as an international supplier, we basically have supplied from Mindanao a great deal of our products. Leading the pack is China at 38%, Japan, Lithuania, Singapore, and Thailand and US at 12.5%. Then we have also import flows, which shows Mindanao at 25% on the right-hand side of the screen, Visayas at 37%, and Luzon at 38% as domestic clients come of shipments going to these places. No? So next. Export flows. So when it comes to export flows, basically Mindanao and Visayas and Luzon is shown in the screen. We have a lot of these exports going to international clients. No? So you'll see that the US still has a large share of the market, and Japan, Europe, ASEAN. So all of these countries, though I really think that the numbers would really change a bit for the next 2 years as these countries will adjust given the impact of COVID-19 on their economies. Obviously, we can see that their economies would really be affected as consumer spending is expected to go down. Next. Next slide, please. So in terms of export destinations and the like, you can see that a lot of these products are finding its way up on the previous slide, export destination, that's right. So practically we've covered most of the world, and a lot of these really come from Mindanao. So starting from the left side of the screen, you have US, Canada, Switzerland, and the exports are in different commodities, from coconuts, fruits, palm oil, live fish, and and we have bananas as well as fish products. Then you have also mineral ores that are exported to these countries. Again, now take Mindanao's role for granted because of the important role it plays in the global economy. Next. So we now look at the issues that are facing the domestic shipping industry. Again, this is taken from a study done by the Mindanao Development Authority, which we validated in 2 workshops that we conducted this year. The first being was on January 30, and the second was on July this year. And this has basically confirmed the kind of situation we're still in, and there's not much improvement to it. Although, because of these conferences, we were also able to help with the reduction of shipping rates. I'll get down to that. The first one, the first issue that I really see is the lack of meaningful competition. Can we go back to that slide? You have the largest cargo operators together carried about 91% of total revenue. Then we have weak incentives to modernize. Again, most of our vessels are, cargo vessels are 20 years old. Passenger ships are 18 to 20 years old. According to Marina and other regulatory agencies, they have generally regarded these vessels as unsafe. About 170 maritime disasters over the past 26 years. And this, the next matter is something that is really, that has really been getting into the nerves of some people in trying to be competitive in their business here in Mindanao. And they have to deal with the high shipping costs and inefficient service. So we'll get down to that because there's been developments as far as this high shipping costs and efficient service is concerned. Next. So we have basically the kind of breakdown of your logistic costs over your sales. And in Mindanao, it's really 30, I'm looking at the bottom line of the screen, is 30.32% of your cost goes to logistics. Visayas is about 25.8. In Luzon, it starts 17.48%. So clearly, there must be something that we can do to address this very high logistics cost. And if I remember right, our neighboring countries like Malaysia, even Brunei, have lower shipping costs than what Mindanao is paying. So there goes really our competitiveness. So next slide, please. So you can see here, the next slide is the freight rate and the route distance in nautical miles. You can really see that it's a lot cheaper to ship out products to Taiwan and Japan. You can see that, or Manila to Kaohsiung is about $300 or about 55 cents rate per nautical mile compared to 0.39 dollars or 39 cents to nautical miles for Manila to Hong Kong, and then Manila to Davao is about 0.97. I mean, this alone is already glaring itself. Though these numbers need to be validated because these studies have been done for some time. So I really believe that one of the policy recommendations we should make would be to update the information that we have on our database insofar as shipping cost is concerned. We need to really review this thoroughly so that we are able to maintain the competitiveness in exporting our products to other places in the Philippines as well as overseas. Next. So the shipping industry facilitates 98% of domestic inter-island trade, and that accounts for about 80 million tons of cargoes every year, including fishery products, and this facilitates the movement of over 40 million Filipinos and foreign tourists within the country. So it accounts for about 13% of the total cost of transporting commodities from farms in Mindanao to domestic markets in the Visayas. Next. So clearly, there's a lot that we could, there's really room for improvement. Now, here are the underlying issues, especially for agriculture. We have the farm-to-market logistic issues in Mindanao. The underlying issues are the congestion in roads and in ports, leading to inefficiencies in high-cost logistics now. The good news is that we are now moving in the right direction with the Build, Build, Build program, which would help decongest traffic in certain locations in the cities and in ports. At the same time, would really lower the cost of logistics. Then the other issue is the high prices of products to of Mindanao, making this uncompetitive once it reaches Manila or Cebu. We are a lot more not competitive anymore. So sometimes farmers have to really take a hit on this and sell their products at a very low price. And it's needless. And then the present situation also acts as a drag on firms coming in and wanting to enter the industry and expand their businesses, therefore lowering productivity. So you can see in three clusters, you have road networks, ports, domestic shipping, as well as on cabotage. I think I'll focus more on the cabotage issue. We have the partial cabotage liberalization, which allows only for co-loading of export and import cargo in several ports. This is not really a full cabotage liberalization, as foreign firms are still not allowed to participate in inter-island shipping. I believe that we've gone to this point where we are not really competitive, and I really suggest that we now seriously think about opening up our shipping industry to foreign competition, if only to bring down the cost, at the same time to sort of rationalize the way we do business. For those that could not see this, because I'm seeing some comments here saying that it's very hard to read, we will be more than happy to give you copies of this. A copy of this presentation has been given to the Davao City Chamber of Commerce. So all you need to do is to inform them and they can send you a copy of this. So again, this is the present situation. We talk about congestion in port roads. Ports are spread to 3 across Mindanao. Another geographical consideration is the shallow bay that prevents entry of larger and more efficient ships. Conflict of interest in Philippine Ports Authority, which is both an operator and a regulator. You can't be both. You can only be one. So that this one needs careful policy modification review. And then for domestic shipping, of course, there's the lack of scale consolidation, which raises shipping costs. Again, we discussed this in an earlier conference, and we looked at this issue. It's a matter of really scheduling shipments. So again, it's a matter of the industry clusters talking to each other and making that they're able to take advantage of a consolidated approach in getting their harvest together, so that they're able to enjoy the benefits of better shipping rates. And of course, there's the limited competition of inter-island shipping that allows monopolistic practices to continue. And this has been going on for quite a while. I mean, the last time I looked at this was in 1994, during the term of then Presidential Assistant Paul Demacy did ask us to undertake a study on the cabotage law. And this was one of the issues. And sadly, it's been quite a while, a long while, since something has really been done about this. So I think it's about time that we really need to really review the data sets that we have, the policies that we are currently implementing, so that we're able to have a more efficient flow of goods to from the production side to the market. Any impediment, any gaps on this only will make us more inefficient, and we can't afford this. Next. So let's look at a snapshot in the case of Cagayan de Oro. So let's look at the case of traders for cargo handlers for vegetables in Bulua, Cagayan de Oro. Or they hire a certain cargo handler that will take the products from the market to the ship and route to Bohol, then Cebu and Manila. So if you can see, Cagayan de Oro to both Cebu and Bohol ports is about 4 pesos to 6 pesos per kilo for vegetables, and then Cagayan de Oro to Luzon, it's about 10 pesos per kilo to Manila buyers. These are pre-COVID. I mean, this was before COVID. These estimates were given then. Again, these were based on a study done by Minda on the present shipping situation. Next. So, given this kind of situation, the kind of policy recommendations we have here in the European Chamber, we do have our Agricultural Committee. The Advocacy Committee meets regularly to discuss the kind of issues that affect the efficiency of our agricultural systems. And we have noted that the agricultural supply chain development can be realized by investing in infrastructure in order to tackle production and operational concerns. At the same time, we urge the government to enhance the Build program by increasing investments on agri-fishery infrastructure in the proposed economic stimulus package. Then move on to modernize and improve transparency in regulatory processes. At the same time, establish a constructive regular dialogue between the public and private stakeholders. We have been very much in support of this as a chamber, and together with our partners like the Davao City Chamber of Commerce, we are regularly seeking out to improve our partnership with government agencies insofar as helping come up with a, I would say, a much more vibrant logistical environment for our farmers. Next. So we strongly urge the effective enforcement of its policies by cascading these issuances to all LGUs through the DA, regional, provincial, city, and municipal units to ensure policy alignment between national and local governments to avoid unnecessary delays in the movement of resources and workforce. Now, I take this to heart because I personally witnessed how the QR code was being implemented here in the city and also in Tagum. in Davao del Norte. There's a lot that the city can learn from Davao del Norte, given the kind of efficient situation that they have in Davao del Norte in handling this kind of situation. And they have really, and I have seen this because I have gone through getting a QR code when I was there, and it was really very efficient. I got it done in a matter of minutes. Here in Davao, sad to say, it took hours, and before we knew it, the system was down. So these are very important things, especially during this time that we really need to have better coordination. So we also support the funding to build farm-to-market roads, irrigation systems, storage infrastructure and facilities, and post-harvest facilities, among others. And moreover, farming technologies and systems such as agri and aqua energy farms and renewable energy-powered irrigation systems could be developed to help promote sustainability and clean energy. Next. So as a chamber, we take these matters to heart. And on the supply chain, we support reviewing the high shipping costs that serve as a barrier for farmers and traders to market their products in urban and high consumption areas. Specifically, we propose revisiting RA 10668 or the Cabotage Law, providing justifications on the charges imposed by shipping lines and observing the globally recognized standards of international commercial terms and clarifying the lead government agency responsibilities responsible for matters to implement shipping rates. But there's been some developments to this, and I will get down to that. No? So next. So now we talk about the Marina ruling on rate reduction. This ruling came about as a response of the general public, in response to the claim of the general public to government to really do something about the high shipping costs. So as a result, all domestic shipping lines are hereby enjoined to allocate at least 12% of a vessel's cargo capacity per voyage. And for the exclusive accommodation of agricultural and food products, and extend these at a discount of no less than 40% of their published shipping rates for all agricultural and food product cargoes. Now, take note that this is as a response to the present situation because of the pandemic that we have, and we hope that this stays, because I really believe that our shipping costs are still high, and we really need to bring it down. Now, the cargoes covered under this advisory are purely agricultural and food products and shipped in whatever manner or form. So we go on to a more specific review of the provisions by the Marina ruling on rate reduction. Next slides, please. So the specific provisions read as, in case of interport operation, the vessel shall be considered compliant with the requirement of the port where the 12% space allocation was utilized, irrespective of whether it is the point of origin or the subsequent port of call. This rule shall likewise apply to the preferential rate of 40% discount. Then domestic shipping lines may opt to offer prepayment or hard blocking the 12% allocated cargo space as required for the purpose of applying the 40% discount. Then the 12% allocated cargo space shall be granted on a first-come, first-served basis. So this, is, in a nutshell, is a positive improvement because of the advocacies that we have raised in the chamber, not only in the European Chamber, but also in the Davao City Chamber, as I understand from John Tria. So next slide, please. The next slide talks about our closing statement with respect to this presentation. So agriculture is a vital engine of economic growth and development for the Philippines, especially here in Mindanao. Hence, the ECCP believes that addressing the challenges of policy enforcement, agricultural infrastructure, and access to finance will help improve the sector's overall productivity, sustainability, and competitiveness. At a time when the COVID-19 pandemic risks the lives and livelihoods of farmers, families, and small businesses alike, we at the ECCP stand ready to work with the government to develop policies and exchange best practices that will create a more robust, inclusive, and sustainable Philippine agriculture. And together with our partners with the Davao City Chamber of Commerce and Industries, I know we can do this. So once again, I'd like to close this presentation by thanking everybody for allowing us to present this part of our presentation. Daghang salamat sa inyong tanan. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Peralta, sir. Thank you for that insightful presentation. Before we proceed, again, we would like to thank everyone joining us today from their respective homes and offices. You are watching the first part of the Davao Agri-Trade Expo webinar series. And let us always stay safe by following the minimum health standards not to prevent the further spread of the COVID-19 virus. We are also encouraging everyone to prepare questions for our speakers to be addressed later on during the open forum. If you wish to be part of Day 2020 webinar series for the month of November, you may contact the Date Secretariat for more details. Now, let me introduce to you our second speaker for today. He has obtained a Bachelor of Science in Agriculture in Visayas State College of Agriculture in Leyte. He has obtained his master's degree in public administration at the Notre Dame of Marble University in South Cotabato. He is a Department of Agriculture homegrown officer who climbed from the ranks over his 38-year stint in DA. He has attended various international trainings and conferences held in Southeast Asia, the United States, Australia, Middle East, and Europe. He has also a lecture of various trainings and seminars in agriculture in the country. Last year, he received an award for regulatory from the Bureau of Plant Industries. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome the Assistant Director for Regulatory of the Bureau of Plant Industry, Mr. Andres Aliman.
Hello, good morning. Good morning to everyone.
Good morning, sir.
May I know if I'm clear?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Okay. Thank you. And have a COVID-free Tuesday to all participants today. So our topic is about export certification system. Okay, so our topic this morning is about export certification system, and we will be discussing the process flow of the export certification, the legal basis, what are the products, agricultural products that can be exported, and how to export, or how can you be issued the phytosanitary certificate that certifies that our export product is qualified for export to other countries. So
how did it go? How did it go?
First slide, please.
Now,
can you share the screen, please? The first slide.
Hi Sir Andres, one moment sir ha. Inaayos pa natin yung yung slide mo so we can pull that up.
Yeah, just okay. Okay. So, to strengthen the Bureau of Plant Industry Plant Quarantine Service, being the National Plant Protection Organization of the Philippines and in compliance with the International Plant Protection Convention or IPPC, our Plant Quarantine Law of 1978 or the Presidential Decree 1433 was promulgated, although it is already amended by Executive Order 292. So, next slide, please. What are the mandate of the Plant Quarantine Service of BPI? So first is to prevent the entry of quarantine or exotic plant pests. Next is to prevent further spread of those already present in the country. And the third is to comply with the phytosanitary requirements of importing countries. And this we will focus on this third mandate today. Next. What are the services of BPI Plant Quarantine Service? Bilateral negotiations or market access. So before we can export our products, we have to negotiate or we have to initiate the market access of our product to the intended country where we would like to export. At the same time, other countries also are initiating their market access to the Philippines if they want to export their products to us. Next is promulgation and enforcement of plant quarantine rules and regulations. So there are so many administrative orders, special BPI quarantine administrative orders. So these are promulgated by the BPI director. Next is to conduct plant pest risk analysis. This is conducted when there are countries who wants to export their product to us or to the Philippines. So first, we don't allow the importation of these products if it will not pass the plant pest risk analysis. Next is conduct laboratory analysis. This is both for export and import. And next is commodity inspection and treatment, again, both for export and imported goods. And the last is post-entry quarantine. This is conducted to the plants or planting materials imported in our country. Post-entry quarantine is conducted or it is conducted in a one cropping season duration. So if there are plants or planting materials imported to our country, then it will be observed by the plant quarantine inspectors if there are no pests or diseases that came out during the one cropping season observation. Next, please. Other services of BPI Plant Quarantine Service is the issuance of plant quarantine clearance for imported goods and phytosanitary certificate for export and domestic clearance for the movement of products, domestic movement of agricultural products. Another is the accreditation of importers, exporters, farmers or growers, treatment facilities, and treatment providers. And next is pest survey and establishment of pest-free area. One example of this is our country is already free from mango pulp and seed weevil except the island of Palawan. And there are other services of the office. So now let's focus on the export quarantine. The export certification procedures and phytosanitary certification system is based on International Plant Protection Convention. We have the ISPM number 7 phytosanitary certification system, or this is the international standard for phytosanitary measures. And number 12, the phytosanitary certificates. Import requirements can also be imposed by trading partners and agreed by both parties. These are complied to ensure acceptability of commodities to the country of destination. Sometimes, importing country will dictate on the phytosanitary certificates. Sometimes they will require treatment, special treatment for our products. Like, for example, our mango to Japan. Before it can be accepted to Japan, it must be treated with the vapor heat treatment, or VHT. And also our papaya. Not only Japan, also New Zealand and Korea requires vapor heat treatment of these products. Next slide, please. So the main phytosanitary requirement for export of plants, planting materials, and plant products is the phytosanitary certificate. Next, please. So this certificate certifies that the plants or plant products have been inspected according to appropriate procedures and are considered to be free from quarantine pests and practically free from other injurious pests, and that they are considered to conform with the current phytosanitary regulations of the importing country. So before our office will issue the phytosanitary certificate, our plant quarantine officers will see to it that our goods or agricultural product intended for export must comply the quarantine standards of the importing country. Next, please. Okay, products requiring phytosanitary certificate. Number 1 are the live plants, that is rooted plants, orchids, full-grown plants. Planting materials, that is seeds, cuttings, rhizomes, bulbs, corms, and scions. Plant products, fruits, vegetables, handicrafts, furniture, the WPM or the wood packaging material, wood products, plant fiber, tobacco products. So for fruits, here in Mindanao, we have the banana, pineapple, papaya. These are products that we exported in bigger volumes to Japan, China, Korea, and even in Middle East. And also potential animal pests, small animals like bees and insects. Then pest specimens, these are cultures of fungi, bacteria, and the likes for scientific purposes. Most of these comes from the academe, from universities, that they want to, for this specimen to be exported to their counterparts in other countries. And non-plant or non-of-plant origin but required to have certificate by the importing country, that is pebbles, stone furniture, marble, ceramics, and personal effects. So why these are included? Because pebbles and stones are attached to the soil, and internationally, soil is not accepted in a country. So because there are some pests or nematodes in the soil. So that's why phytosanitary certificate is required in the exportation of this kind of products. Next, please. So BPI also, or the Plant Quarantine Service, license, accredit exporters, traders, packing facilities, and register growers and farms. So this is based on BPI Memorandum Order number 40. So before an exporter can export these products, they must be accredited or licensed by BPI. But not all agricultural products that we require like this. It's only, we have established the licensing for exporters of banana, pineapple, papaya, mango, and okra. So like here in Davao or in Mindanao, all our exporters are licensed by BPI, and all their farms are registered and their packing facilities. And we assign to them the unique traceability codes so that we can easily trace if there are some lapses of our exporters that their export products do not qualify to the quarantine standards of the importing country. Next, please. So what are the supporting documents before the issuance of phytosanitary certificate? Before we require this, the ED or export declaration from the Bureau of Customs. But now, the Bureau of Customs, baligtad na. Kasi the Bureau of Customs require first the phytosanitary certificate before issuing the export declaration to our exporters. So, to harmonize our regulations, we give way to the BOC regulation. So, we no longer require the export declaration to our exporters, but we require the next, the commercial invoice or packing list, import permit from importing country, but this is not applicable to all. To products which are already regularly exported to countries, we no longer require this import permit from importing country. But for products that is not a regular export product, or first, especially if it is a first time export, then we require the import permit from importing country for us to know the requirements so that we can comply their quarantine standards. And other permits or clearances from other agencies. Example of this is the CITES clearance from DENR for orchids and other products. And treatment certificate. There are countries that require our export product to be fumigated. So we require the certificate of fumigation from our exporters before issuing the phytosanitary certificate. Next, please. So the procedure. First, the exporter or the broker submits fully accomplished application for inspection and phytosanitary certification. Copy of ED, as I have mentioned before, we no longer require this. Proforma invoice, at least 48 hours prior to treatment or packing. But if they cannot do this, still we accept their application. But it is clear that it is before packing so that our plant quarantine inspectors and plant quarantine officers can inspect the exported goods before it will be sealed in the packaging or in the containers. Then processor checks or validates, records all documents, and forwards same to assigned plant quarantine officer for inspection and treatment of goods if necessary. Then next is the plant quarantine officer inspects or treats the goods. By the way, it is not the plant quarantine officer who treats the commodity if it is required by the importing country, but we have accredited treatment providers or fumigators who treats the commodities with the supervision of the plant quarantine officer. Approval or denial of application based on the inspection and or treatment, meaning during inspection or during treatment, but the pests are not killed, so phytosanitary certificate is denied. Then the clerk prepares phytosanitary certificate, then signing officer approves the certificate and release a phytosanitary certificate. This is a simple procedure in the issuance of phytosanitary certificate. Tawag lang po niya yun. Next, please. So the factors or the sources of regulation or requirements. Bilateral agreement. Number one, bilateral agreement. So as I mentioned, first, for mango, Korea, USA, Australia, Japan, New Zealand, these markets, we have bilateral agreement with these countries before our mango was accepted to be exported in their country. For Korea, it must be treated with VHT, all of these countries. And next is international standards. So we follow the international standards because we have the IPPC or the International Plant Protection Convention, and BPI or the Bureau of Plant Industry is our national plant protection organization. So example of this is the ISPM 15 or the International Standard Phytosanitary Measure for wood packaging materials. So all wood packaging materials like pallets, crates, and dunnage, that is included in our export or in our trading must be heat treated or fumigated with methyl bromide. Then another is the local department orders and pest occurrence. There is a note here in the bottom for fresh fruits. Most of the requirements are set under a bilateral agreement between Philippines and the importing country. So yes, like our pineapple, our banana, especially our banana. Now in Japan, they are so very strict on the MRL or the maximum residual level of specific chemicals used in our banana. And also in China, if you can remember, in the year 2012, that our bananas in China were thrown to the sea or destroyed because of the issue of mealybugs. And that is the cause that I was pulled out from General Santos by Secretary Alcala to spearhead the Davao Quarantine Office to solve the problem of our banana in China. Next, please. So this is the procedural manual. We can skip this slide. Next, please. Okay. This is the procedure or the process flow in acquiring a phytosanitary certificate by our exporters. First is to submit the application form for inspection and phytosanitary certification. Then the plant quarantine officer will determine if the product is prohibited or not to the destination country. If it is prohibited, then it is the end of the process. The issuance will be denied. But if it is not, the officer will ask for other requirements. Then if there are other requirements, then applicant will submit these requirements. Like what? As I have discussed before, example, fumigation certificate or CITES permit from the ENR. And if there is no other requirement, then it will proceed to the treatment if treatment is necessary. But if treatment is not necessary, the quarantine officer or inspector will directly inspect the product, get some samples, and for laboratory analysis. Then, if it is needed to be treated, then if treatment is required, then the officer will give the list of our accredited treatment providers to the applicant for him to select who among our accredited providers you will contract to do the treatment. Then after treatment, if the pests are controlled, then it will proceed to the issuance of phytosanitary certificate. But if the treatment failed, so even if the product is already fumigated but the pests are not killed, then the phytosanitary certificate will be denied. Next, please. So I have already discussed this portion. So after the product is cleared from pests and diseases, then phytosanitary certificate will be issued to our exporters. So this is the sample of our application for inspection and phytosanitary inspection or certification. So this must be filled up by the applicant. But in our Davao office, we have already a system in the plant quarantine service office in Saasa. There are computers in the lobby that our exporters can use and apply for inspection and phytosanitary certification. Next is the copy of our phytosanitary certificate. You can see this portion that this certifies that the plants or plant products were inspected and conform to the phytosanitary requirements of the importing country. Next is the regulatory fees. For floriculture and allied industries, so these are the rates for seeds, cuttings, rhizomes, bulbs, corms, and scions. That is 10 pesos per metric ton, or a minimum per PC or phytosanitary certificate of 100 pesos and a maximum of 2,000 per phyto. For seedlings, grafts, and marcots, so these are the rate. This is the rate: 50 centavos per piece, or a minimum per phyto of 125 pesos and a maximum of 1,000. Plant materials in flasks and the likes, that is community pots or tubes. So 10 pesos per pot or flask. Then there is a minimum amount of 250 and maximum of 2,000. Other propagation materials, 10 pesos per metric ton, and so on. Cut flowers and foliage, and again, 10 pesos per metric ton, 250 ang minimum, 2,000 is the maximum. Other live plants, these are full-grown plants, 5 pesos per piece, and 125 per PC, a minimum and maximum of 1,000 per PC. For fruits and vegetables, fresh fruits, vegetables, onion, garlic, and other spices, 4 pesos per metric ton, or a fraction of a ton thereof. Meaning, if you will export 950 kilos only, still you will be charged with 4 pesos. For seeds, cuttings, rhizomes, bulbs, corms, scions, and other planting propagating materials, that is 5 pesos per metric ton. Living plants for shipment of 10 pieces or less is 10 pesos, and excess of 10 pieces plus 1 peso per piece. Other plant products and materials capable of harboring plant pests, 5 pesos per metric ton, or a fraction of a ton thereof. What are these products? Example for these are the copra pellets, yung extracted na yung oil sa ating mga like Davao Bay yata, sa Davao, or Cargill, Philippines. Meron silang mga product nito, yung copra pellets or copra expeller, that we exported to Vietnam and other countries, even Europe. So this is charged 5 pesos per metric ton. Then potential crop pests, small animals, as we have discussed before, like bees, small insects, 10 pesos per head. For insects, 100 pesos per PC or phytosanitary certificate. Cultures of fungi, bacteria, and the like for scientific purposes, 100 pesos for phytosanitary certificate. Next, please. Wala na pala. So, thank you to everyone. Daghang salamat.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Alimanya. At this juncture, we will be having our panel discussion. Our first panelist is a distinguished gentleman who hails from Zamboanga City. He is the president and CEO of Soliventure Philippines Incorporated, a family-owned and controlled corporation he founded, whose allied businesses are into retail, food distribution, and real estate development. Please help me welcome the president of Zamboanga Chamber of Commerce and Industry Foundation, Mr. Pedro Rofo Soliven. Sir, good morning. And our second panelist, of course, our beloved Davao Agri-Trade Expo chairperson, the the beautiful Cherilyn Kasuga, who will be joining us in our discussion. Okay, so last October 30, no, we officially launched the Davao Agri-Trade Expo online exhibition. So this is the first ever virtual date that we will allow exhibitors to showcase their products and services for a whole year online. So yun, we have launched that last October 30. Okay, so we will now begin our discussion. I think si Sir Pocholo will just come in a while. Tayo muna, no? We have with us VP Che, and also we have Sir Andy of the Regulatory Bureau of Plant Industries, and we have also Sir Tony, the chairman of the Southern Mindanao Business Council of the European Chamber of Commerce in the Philippines. Okay, so good morning everyone. We have marami tayong tanong dito actually. So the first one is we have here for Sir Tony. Para ito sa iyo, sir. Sabi dito, due to pandemic, no, many are restricting countries of restricting entries, no, of goods and services or goods from other countries. Ngayon, yung tanong niya, how does this impacted to the export, to the Philippine export, no, particularly on banana, and what assistance that the government has provided to the farmers with this emerging concern?
Okay, first, we have to remember that what we have presently in this pandemic is really more of a health issue. So, given the threat to public health by the pandemic, and until a vaccine is made commercially available, we are heartened by the very good news that Pfizer is able to really establish a breakthrough. But I'd like to take caution on that until it's out there, until it's implemented. Then we can say that we are on the road to really to normalcy. But it's a good sign to see that happening. Now, as far as shipment of our goods to other countries, each country has its own regulations and the way they have looked at the Philippines. For a while, there was really serious concern because the Philippines became like a source of, being identified as a hotspot in this part of the world. Of course, where infections during that time was really at an all-time high. But we have to remember that we did not yet, we did not flatline. So given that kind of a situation then, the situation now, of course, has improved. I think the numbers can bear it out. On a daily basis, our infection rates have been going down. So the perception that we are, let's say, an infection-ridden country certainly has an impact on the way our goods are accepted out there. Of course, this will be subject to further tests for any infection. At the port of entry to these countries, they're very strict with that. Their fisheries sanitary standards are really, I would say, very strict. And given that, I've not yet heard of any shipment that was turned back because of infections. There's going to be delays, yes, because those delays really are part of what we foresee as an occurrence as a result of the pandemic. When you have your goods and services or your goods flowing from one point to another, of course, madaming pinagdadaanan yan. You've got checkpoints after checkpoints after checkpoints. Alam natin yan. Each LGU or each government has its own kind of regulations. Of course, there's going to be an impact, but however, the impact on Philippine exports, I really think is very short-term. Short-term lang yan because by the time countries would have known how to handle and address possible infections coming from the pandemic. So I really think with good reason and among our members also, I've not yet heard a complaint that their shipment has been sent back or there was a slight delay especially in for the months of March, April. But when May came in, the delays started to get shorter and shorter and shorter. Here in Davao, really a key concern is the way we have been implementing this kind of regulations, especially on the QR code. I mean, you try to travel from one point to another, hinihingian ka ng QR code, and you try to get into the system, you can't even get to the system. I mean, of course, there should be a lot of careful thought on the way these are being implemented. But going back to your exports, I really think what we see as any probable slowdown is very temporary and very short term in nature, because especially if you're looking at food, food is important to a lot of these countries. Without it, they can't survive. So they really will look at a way of really allowing food products that are considered safe, or those that have passed their phytosanitary standards, to get into their country. I hope I've answered that question.
Yes, no, thank you so much, no, Sir Tony. At least wala namang bumabalik. Medyo delay lang po. So
none to our as far as the information that we're getting.
Yeah.
Wala pa naman.
Yeah, that's very good to note, Sir Tony. Okay, so before we will proceed with other questions, we'd like to call in VP Cherry for some reactions on the presentations of our two gentlemen, our two speakers. VP Che.
Thank you, Trustee Roland. Again, I'd like to say thank you, Sir Tony Peralta, and of course, Sir Andy, no, Alemania. Now, with my where I'm coming from, being now an agripreneur, the new normal still brings us the same challenges to the logistics industry. According to the Supply Chain Management Association of the Philippines, I believe they agree with me. These challenges include manpower shortage, supply issues, late or non-delivery, late or non-delivery suppliers and warehouses operating at almost full capacity due to businesses not being able to fully operate. All of which have resulted high logistics costs, no, as what Sir Peralta kanina said, no. Add to this traffic pa that has returned since quarantine restrictions have somewhat been eased. Challenges include lack of coordinated and integrated transport networks, overlapping and conflicting functions among the transportation agencies, transport safety and security concerns, and inadequacy of transport facilities, particularly in conflict-affected and underdeveloped areas. At the onset of the fight against COVID-19, the IATF policy of ensuring unhampered movement of cargo did not necessarily translate 100% on the ground. There were numerous reports of checkpoint personnel not letting through cargo trucks despite the government policy. I think that's the reason why better collaboration with the private sector has to happen so that government can immediately act on disruptions on the ground, and this should be reported right away to the government. As economic development in the Philippines enters a new normal, the standard of living and the consumption structure has rapidly changed, generating a range of new demands on the production, circulation, and safety of perishable agricultural products. I have to say that. Other challenges include the existence of other logistic facilities such as the warehouse, packing, and cold storage facilities, and the distribution centers. As the crucial link between production and markets, I believe we can all agree that modernized agriculture logistics network is key to accelerating the modernization of agriculture, improving the efficiency of agricultural production, and upgrading the market for agricultural products. Getting this done, we would be able to satisfy the growing demand for higher quality food, stabilize the market for agricultural products, and improve the efficiency of distribution. Recognizing the importance of establishing the modern logistics system for agricultural products, our Department of Agriculture continuously promote a series of regulations and policies. We know that the government has prioritized in accelerating the establishment of a more efficient and modernized agricultural logistics system. That is, if we want a transport and logistics system for food, agri-fishery products, inputs, and services must remain unhampered. Therefore, they have to maximize the use of digital technology to link producers to consumers through e-commerce and related activities. Of course, let us not forget the efforts of DA, the increase the availability of safe, nutritious, fortified, and well-packed agri-food supplies or products. It will intensify applied research for agri commodities also, no, with medical and therapeutical potential. Also, I'm sorry, I have to really mention this, the need for cold chain logistics. I think this has also been emphasized by Acting Socio-Economic Planning Secretary Carl Kedrick Chua, also the Director General of the National Economic and Development Authority, to prolong shelf life of agricultural food products and ensure commercial viability of fresh and healthy produce. Because now we must emphasize and promote the commercial viability of making healthy, safe, nutritious, medicinal, or therapeutic, and well-packed agricultural food products. The shift in consumer preference for healthier diets will increase the demand for processed agri-food products with longer shelf life and improved nutritional content. This is especially needed during this time when good health is of the highest importance. As reported in the report, Recover as One by the Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Disease, or the Technical Working Group, they recommend increased investments, no, in warehouses, cold storages, storage facilities, as well as paperless transaction systems. And so, improving our logistics system would involve construction of better road and transport infrastructure, as well as sufficient and strategically located facilities such as wholesale food terminals, trading centers, warehouses, cold storage, and refrigeration facilities, mobile storage, mobile marketplaces, the rolling stores and the food banks. As they want to believe, that means let's do all things that we can. We as a chamber will continue to work with different stakeholders, exerting our efforts to coordinate activities, information gathering, sharing policies, and initiate solutions. And I believe together we will survive, reboot, and bounce back under this new normal. Dagan salamat.
Okay, thank you, VP Che. Ang dami nun, ha? Pero
Oo.
I'd like to point out one of the things which you have mentioned about logistics, kasi most of the questions that were given that are coming in are actually into concerns of logistics. No, but before I'll pull up questions related to that, we would like to apologize. Now, unfortunately, President Pocholo of the Zamboanga Chamber is with us earlier. Kaya lang, due to bad weather, because there's a coming storm, he cannot get into and join us this morning. So, hindi ho natin makakasama si President Pocholo. But anyhow, we have VP here, Sir Tony, and we have also Sir Andy. Okay, so let's move forward. Ito naman, this is a question related to shipping cost, no. I'm not sure who would want to give his insight with this. If there is a guarantee about lowering the cost of foreign shipping cost, is there any government intervention with this particular concern?
Well, I'd like to put in my inputs to that. I really think that shipping, as far as pricing is concerned, this has to be determined by the market. But it's one thing for government to be legislating that and really forcing the issue of really lowering the cost, because I don't think that that's going to really be something that can really help the industry. However, what I think is more competition would really help your cost to be more competitive. No? So the more you are, the more services there are, the likelihood of having a lower and competitive cost would really happen. Now, as far as foreign vessels coming in or competing with local companies and the like, my position is that for as long as it does serve the purpose of having competitive shipping rates, I guess everybody would really support that, because it's been really quite a long while when we have been supporting our local shipping industry. It's no longer considered to be an infant industry. In fact, that the shipping industry has been with us for in time since in time in memoriam. I mean, quite a long while ago. But the thing to bear here is that were there any improvements? Were we better off with it? So all these the suggestions that I am making on having a three-year economy by letting foreign ships come in and be engaged in inter-island shipping, I think would be a step in the right direction, if only to increase the level of competition. Because when you have an environment like that, you are able to really improve the manner in which the services are given. It's in business and all, we know this, that if you don't deliver and the like, your chances of staying in business is less. So you have to find ways and means to become more competitive. So again, the pricing is driven by the kind of services that you offer as a shipping company. So I don't believe that A, this should be legislated. B, pricing like that can be best handled by market forces. No? So let the best company who can offer better prices succeed. Okay.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
And if
Yes, VP
yeah,
Che.
oo. And if I may add, also last I think that was September, no? There was a memorandum of agreement that was initiated, Region 11 Field Office, Davao City, and John Gold Cargo Forwarder to facilitate the movement of the fruits and help local farmers bring their produce to major markets. So under this MOA, there will be no shipment offloading as long as products reach the airport before cut-off. So this has been signed last August 12. Three shippers transport 15 tons of fruits daily already from Davao to Manila at a freight rate, I think around 35 pesos, if I'm not mistaken, per kilogram. The agreement from September to October 1. No? So, but anyway, John Gold, his company is also is already working and in partnership with the DA, and as our DA Undersecretary for High Value Crops, no, Undersecretary Ampatuan, and also the of course Undersecretary Evelyn Lavinia. They hope that the first shipment will encourage, more producers, consolidators, and shippers to use air cargo to transport agricultural commodities. Hopefully, this will initiate and reach international markets. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, VP Che and Sir Tony. Now we have another one here under the protocols for safety, even before vaccine are available, especially on the agricultural industry in the logistics side. Otherwise, we can farm to market roads already completed.
Can you say that again? I'm trying to.
When can they get back when they can get back on the business under the new procedure and the farm to market roads that are already available?
I think they can already get it, operate na. Did I get it right?
Yeah, that's correct, VP Che. Yeah, ang inisip ko nga kanina, hindi pa ba talaga fully operational lahat at this time? Kaya napatanong si participant.
All right, okay. If I may share, the current state of our farm to market
Yes, Sir Tony.
roads is a continuing development. It's not something that ends with the completion of one road, because there will be new communities requiring that. So it's like a cycle. We all know that these roads are maintained by the national government, and because of budgetary concerns, some of these roads apparently are left in disrepair, and it will take quite a while before it gets repaired again. And because of the kind of weather that we have, where easily the kind of roads that we have easily get washed away by the rain and by the wear and tear of vehicle or commodity traffic that pass through it. So, I mean, there should really be a serious look into it because we're spending so much money into really getting these roads out. But overall, if you look at it, what contribution does it have to our gross domestic product? You know, I mean, that bears a careful study again. Uh, we undertook a study, not the European Chamber, but the company I'm with. We did a study of geographically isolated areas in the Philippines, and there were about 1,600 barangays that we covered in our survey. And these are like the kind of communities that really need these farm to market roads. And to our surprise, there's really a lot of these communities that are there. So you can just imagine, correlate this to the kind of budget that we have in making these roads happen for these communities and the like. There's really a greater demand to have these roads there. But then again, sometimes we have to deal with a very limited budget to make the right decision on where these roads will be. So that's the present state, and really the lack of maintenance, not only just by government. I believe that communities that use it should really do their part in maintaining this.
Yeah, that's a good point, no, Chairman Tony. Thank you for that information. Okay, although the rest could also give their insights regarding this if you wish. I hope Sir Andy is still with us. Okay, medyo mahaba to pero maganda. This is a very good question. Perhaps we can look for ways in reducing the cost on documentation processes. Kasi alam naman natin na ang daming mga, especially if we export products outside, if we send products outside the country, ang daming mga shredded electronic system from booking all the way to cargo release at the port of destination, including domestic tariffs. Now, while these are in place, these processes are still, the documentation part are still being done at present separately, like the shipping line, the PPA, port operator, NPQS, DNR, BOC, etc. Therefore, shipper still needs to have someone to interconnect these processes and the documentations. I mean, these documentations have to be done physically, thereby adding the risk during the quarantine period, because the processor has to go to different offices. Do we have any plans or future things na similar to this insight, that if everything can be done online?
Trustee Roland, kung sana ako ay mananawagan. Kung
you
know, I was Trustee Roland, yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Trustee Roland.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right.
VP
I think well, if I can just if I may raise this, this is personally, I call this parang establish a crisis communication management system between exporters, importers, and government. Siguro maganda if we have this registry or database of importers and traders needs to be developed for the easy issuance of permits and passes. An integrated website, perhaps, that tracks real-time information on cargo release, availability of supply, production, and inventory could also be explored. sana, no, between the national government and the local government units and the private sector. Let's go digital and ano na solutions. That's all, Trustee Roland, for me.
For BPI, excuse me, Trustee Roland.
Sige, Sir Andy po, go ahead.
Okay, for BPI, we have already in place for import. For our importers, they can apply online. So we have already the system in place. So there is no face-to-face transaction when importers will apply for SPSIC or the sanitary phytosanitary import clearance. So they can apply even if they are in their rooms, and they will just check if their application is already approved, and they can print the SPSIC if they have the printer in their house. So for export, there is a move now for the national single window. Is prohibited by the DOF, I think. Just a few weeks ago, somebody called me for an interview for some informations on how we can get into this, but it is still in process for most on export. But I don't think if we will be interconnected with PPA and the shipping lines, but I'm sure with BOC and DA, it is. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. Sir Andy, thank you. Naririnig niyo po ba ako?
Yes, yes, sir.
Thank you,
Yes,
sir.
Trustee.
Pasensya na because we have some technical problems here in our internet sa office. No, I'm switching from the laptop to my phone right now. So, but it's okay. No, thank you, gentlemen, for the inputs. No, I think we're done. We'd like to at this point. We'd like to hear any. We don't have any other questions anymore in the chat box. Any final words? No, from Chairman Tony first. Sir Tony.
Yes. To me, after listening to the inputs or the discussions we've had this morning, main point that I'd like to really see is for us to thoroughly update the studies that are being done, because most of these studies were done in 2012, 2013, and it's almost 10 years now since we've really seen what the real picture is like. Really, there was really any profound improvement on the cost that's being borne by our exporters, by our traders here. Second, I'd like to really look at the kind of partnerships that could really be made stronger between the private sector here in Mindanao and that with our counterparts in Manila, to really, stress the point of how we can possibly make the shipping industry to be a stronger partner to the agricultural industry, because all of these are really linked together in a supply chain. And as what Ms. Che pointed out earlier, the need of more cold chain, cold storage facilities in strategic production areas is a good idea. So many groups have already looked into that. I know that the Department of Trade and Industry through Windrock International some years back have selected certain pilot areas. I don't know what the outcome of that effort was, but I know they tried doing that in Caraga area. So it's projects like this that I really think bear careful watching, because again, that we'd like to really see a much more efficient industry here. And then lastly, and my appeal, not only to the shipping companies, but to our providers of internet services, is to really ensure that we can operate on an online platform, even for processing licenses, even for processing permits and the like. It should be done with relative ease, especially in this time where we don't really encourage too much person-to-person contact because of the pandemic. We have lagged as a country in terms of internet connectivity. In fact, we rank second. We're the second lowest in the whole world when it comes to internet connectivity in the whole world. So that gives you an idea about the sad state of our internet situation, and that's going to be key for us to move forward in really promoting more trade between our markets here and abroad. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Chairman Tony. We'd like to hear also the final words of Sir Andy. Sir?
Yes, but before that, I would like to, there is a question I have read in the chat box that asking for the widespread of Panama, how widespread of Panama disease affecting our Cavendish, and if it is true that it will stay in the soil for 50 years. Mindanao area, because of the typhoon and flooding, is considered as contaminated of Panama disease. This is a fungus caused by fungus, soil-borne, and can be carried by water. That is why, because of the heavy flooding during typhoons, it is considered that our soil in mostly Davao area is contaminated for this Panama disease. I don't have the figure of the Cavendish planted area affected by Panama disease or the Fusarium wilt disease, but we can see that there are some that are already abandoned banana plantations in Davao del Norte. It will stay, according to, I'm not a pathologist, but according to experts, it will stay more than 30 years in the soil. So if your area is already infected with this Fusarium wilt, then it is no longer advisable to plant Cavendish banana until such time that we can discover a very resistant variety of Cavendish. So to all participants, I just hope that I have relayed to you the mandate and the functions of our office, regulatory division of, or regulatory arm of the Department of Agriculture, the BPI, the National Plant Quarantine Service. So I also hope that our offices in the regions can assist all our exporters, especially here in Mindanao, and we can, I am encouraging everyone that we can develop exports also within the BIMP Yaga area. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, no, Sir Andy, for that information. Any final words from VP Cherry, VP Che?
Thank you, Trustee Roland. Again, I'd like to thank Sir Tony Peralta, Sir Andy Alemania for your time this morning. Your information has really, somehow give us enlightenment and hopefully that our different, the government and private sector, different stakeholders in the agricultural value chain will be able to hear and really act. We all agree that modernized agricultural logistics network is key to accelerate the modernization of agriculture. Digital technology to link producers to consumers through e-commerce and related activities. Um, of course, we should also see opportunities, the investments in warehouses, cold storage facilities, and as well as the paperless transaction system. Um, as your your Davao City Chamber, rest assured that we will continue to work together to collaborate and exert our efforts to coordinate activities, no, information gathering, policy, the information sharing, and please do let us know of how we can serve you, how we can help, especially in the logistics. And we will do our best to raise this and work with you, provide solutions. And I believe in only by collaboration and working together, inclusive growth, we will survive this and be able to bounce back under this new normal. Again, daghan salamat. Maayong buntag.
Okay, daghang salamat, no, VP Che. And that concludes, no, our discussion this morning. Thank you, gentlemen, to Sir Andy and Sir Tony. No, thank you for being with us this morning.
Thank you.
Okay, welcome.
Okay, so last October 30, we officially launched the Davao Agri-Trade Expo online. This is the first ever virtual date that will allow exhibitors to showcase their products and services for a whole year online. This will serve as a platform to promote and create linkages and partnerships among local and international agribusiness stakeholders. And this will also help several agripreneurs now recognize the potential of digital technologies in boosting their business and in streamlining the agri-food supply. To join the online exhibition, please watch this video. Entrepreneurs, vendors, and suppliers, now this is now your chance to connect virtually. The online exhibition will continue until June of 2021. So for those who are interested to take their agribusiness to the next level, please visit www.davochamber.com/date for more information. At this point, I'd like to thank once again our sponsors and partners. Please watch this. Once again, thank you everyone for joining us today, and let us always stay safe by following the minimum health protocols, ensuring the health and safety of every Filipino. This has been Roland Suico. See you all on November 17, and may we all have a great day. Daghang salamat ug maayong adlaw.
Thank you, Trustee Roland. Bye.
Thank you.
Davao City, one of the most vibrant economies in the world. And the world comes together because life is here. As Mindanao's primary investment hub, the city boasts its outstanding transport connection, production technologies, favorable climate, and vast fertile land suitable for agribusiness. As one of Davao City's strongest sectors, the abundant supply of agricultural products and availability of raw materials along with low labor costs make food manufacturing and other value-adding activities viable for investors. The city's top commodity produce include banana, coconut oil, and pineapple, exported to different parts of Asia, reaching as far as Europe, Middle East, and the United States. Hailed as one of the most secured and livable cities in the world, Davao City is your best investment destination, especially in agribusiness and trade. Now is the best time to invest here. Come and invest in Davao City.
Nestled at the fullness of the Orient Seas, scattered gems of wonders right at the heart of the center of the Coral Triangle, the Philippines, with its 7,100 more islands, is a brewing paradise for your seafood pleasure. A country of infinites and teeming marine life sprawled across 220 million hectares of water, the Philippines is home to the world's richest marine biodiversity. As one of the world's top fish producers, we give more than your usual regular seafood experience. Live, fresh, smoked, frozen, dried, fresh frozen, seasoned or plain, we offer the best variety for your seafood fancy, however you like them to be. A socially and economically significant sector in the Philippines, fisheries provide livelihood to over 1.7 million fisherfolk. The bountiful seafood are caught sustainably using environment-friendly fishing gears from the seas that are dutifully managed, conserved, and protected for future generations. Coastal communities flourish and transform into lively, thriving eco-districts, generating employment for fisherfolk and their families. Our seafood products have undergone meticulous selection and production process. Each product is prepared and transported from fish source to production sites using best practices in food handling and safety guidelines. Food safety experts ensure that our fishery establishments, seafood processing plants, cold storage facilities, and warehouses follow quality standards from the world's food safety authorities. From the abundance enjoyed by our people, the Philippines now shares the same delights to various countries in different parts of the world. Canned, bottled, fresh, or fresh frozen, it is our commitment to constantly boost and innovate the variety of our traditional and value-added fishery products. An array of tastes and flavors, a bursting concoction of delectable seafood found in the world's richest marine biodiversity. We are the Philippines. Choose our fish. Choose the Philippine seafood.
The agricultural landscape of the Philippines is the backbone of the rural agricultural small household farmers, agricultural entrepreneurs, local agri-based manufacturing industry. With the Rapid Growth Project, the Philippine government envisions a strongly rooted, comfortable, and secured life to every Filipino. The project is a value chain development-based program involving market-driven agri-production and processing to achieve global market integration, covering 4 commodity value chains in 7 regions and 20 provinces, including Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. This can be achieved through the partnership among government agencies, financial institutions, and the private sector collaborating to provide strategic interventions, such as direct assistance through matching grants for productive investments in order to address market failures and encourage private sector investment, institutional strengthening, technical assistance to the rural financial service providers, innovative agri-financing, and management support, converging to include market-driven agri-production, increase productive capacity of small farmers to strengthen market linkage to benefit from the gain of commercial partnerships, transforming small farmers to become agripreneurs and bring trabajo, negosyo, and kabuhayan for men, women, indigenous peoples, and persons who are differently abled. To reach more agri-based cooperatives and rural financial institutions to further develop more MSMEs and build commercial business partnerships with the rural communities. We can strengthen and sustain market linkages in the local and global market and achieve inclusive and sustainable economic development. The Rapid Growth Project is a value chain development. It is about inclusion, convergence, and collaboration.
At Land Bank, we work hard to create and provide you with products suitable to your needs, complemented by a delightful customer service experience. We are Land Bank, and we are here to help you grow wherever you are. With our array of financial solutions, as well as our development lending programs, we make sure that everyone enjoys the many benefits of banking with us. We bring our financial services closer to more Filipinos beyond the 4 walls of our branches. Now and in the coming years, Land Bank commits to serving you better. And with your support and our continued partnership, we can make a lasting impact on the lives of more and more Filipinos. We are Land Bank. We bank on Filipino ingenuity and perseverance that have no bounds. We're about sharing hopes and ambitions and nurturing them to life. We revere partnerships in the spirit of cooperation as keys to success. We believe in the Filipinos' aspiration of triumph. We believe in you. Whatever your dream, whatever your goal, we are here to help you grow. This is our mission, and this is our promise to you.
Most business operations and economic activities worldwide were put on hold due to the coronavirus pandemic. With this situation, Magsige MPC has adopted the present situation in order to ensure the continuity of the cooperative operations despite from the pandemic and rolled out the 4 identified strategy. Transition to online operations and cashless transactions, launching of community response programs, explore other income-generating activities, and following the protocols for the COVID outbreak while executing the strategies. Transition to online operations and cashless transactions. The enforced lockdown during the coronavirus outbreak saw many organizations and businesses adopting a work-from-home scheme and shifting towards digital and cashless transactions as part of Magsige MPC's business continuity plan and adopt to the so-called new normal. Magsige MPC is now implementing its major shift to digitalize its operations. It had launched its own website via www.magsigempc.com to gain competitive advantage and improve the cooperative's image. This will help the cooperative in getting more leads and prospects, increase sales, enhance the Magsige MPC's professional brand, and ultimately improve its customer service. Aside from the website, the cooperative also engaged in putting up of different social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube with the same purpose to gain competitive advantage and ultimately improve its customer service. And with a partnership of Magsige MPC to the country's latest digital platform that will revolutionize the way cooperatives serve their members, DG Co-op. The platform enables the member to transact online. No need to line up for loan application. No need to wait for weeks to receive claims and benefits. Introducing the DG Co-op Wallet app and Circle Card, where members will receive their payout, claims, and benefits without lining up. Apply loans online. No need to go to any Magsige MPC offices and pay your dues in over 40,000 payment centers. And the most exciting feature of the platform, cooperative members can shop online via DG Co-op Marketplace, linked to Magsige MPC online store and the Magsige MPC Co-op Mart. Launching of community response programs. In times of severe crisis, like the coronavirus outbreak, it is fitting for Magsige MPC to channel the spirit of cooperativism by extending help to affected communities in whatever capacity it could. Such initiatives include production of protective equipment like coverall suits and face masks, continuing partnership with DepEd in the implementation of the cooperative's Adopt a School program, conduct of donation drives in partnership with fellow cooperatives, the LGUs in the private sector to help those in need in these trying times, exploring of other income-generating activities. The coronavirus outbreak had put many business operations in limbo. In these uncertain times, it is crucial for Magsige MPC to look for opportunities that can help generate income for the cooperative. This includes the production of additional relevant product lines for garments manufacturing, such as the production of bed sheets and pillowcases, undergarments and fashionable face masks under the brand Gray. Also, it is timely for the co-op to engage into agri-production, including coffee and banana. Other opportunities include on-demand delivery service, Magsige MPC online store that will bring the store at the doorsteps of our customers. There is also a great opportunity in the housekeeping services. The reason why Magsige MPC launched its housekeeping services, its workforce with NC2 certification from TESTA. It is also the pride of the cooperative of having its own training and assessment center accredited by TESTA with accreditation numbers 20201124 TRSHSK213012 and ACHSK02112419213004 respectively. following the protocols for the COVID outbreak while executing the strategies. Magsige MPC puts on top the safety and health of the personnel executing the projects. With the health and sanitary protocols to be implemented, no doubt that the cooperative can respond and adapt to the new norms despite of the pandemic. Inspired by its tagline for the year 2020, Magsige MPC will continue to engage in the available possibilities and will show the world that we can.
In 1968, the Chamber of Commerce of the Philippines came down to Davao to invite some businessmen here to form a local chamber to be affiliated with them. So a group of young executives headed by Attorney Ramon Tirol, Edmundo Madrazo, Joe Custodio, Joe Sibilia, those are core group that organized the Davao City Chamber of Commerce.
Of course, this is a Chamber of Commerce. The objective is to form a group so that we can have one voice for the business in our relation, firstly with the government, and secondly, in relation to other chambers, especially the national chambers and the other chambers of commerce abroad.
Davao City Chamber, or any business chamber for that matter, is supposed to help small and medium-scale business improve their business. Now, how do we do that? It brings all the small business together, particularly their problem with the local government or national government. There are other concerns such as wanting to meet with their supplier, wanting to meet with a potential customer, or wanting to meet with a peer businessman in the same industry.
Davao City Chamber of Commerce and Industry Incorporated, as the voice of the business sector of Davao City, has been actively conducting monthly membership meetings in order to know the recent trends and updates on business sector, and as well as get some insights, concerns, and issues of business community. With the Chamber's active involvement on the crucial issues surrounding the business community, it led to activities such as the dialogue on the proposed Davao Sasa Port Modernization Project, Forum on the Third Proposed Zonal Valuation Revision, and the Bangsa Moro Basic Law Forum. This is on top of the major events that Davao City Chamber conducts, such as the Davao Agri-Trade Expo and Davao Investment Conference, in order to encourage investments in Davao and Mindanao in general.
Purpose of our membership in the chamber is first and foremost for business growth. The chamber represents for us a vehicle or venue for our companies, products, and services to be able to reach a wider or larger audience. And this is done by the activities and events that the chamber undertakes, such as the trade expositions, the symposia, the business conferences. These activities allow companies from here and abroad to get together and explore what they might want to undertake together in terms of projects or advocacies.
Monthly meetings of the chamber have provided us a fertile ground for obtaining this information from the speakers, from the guest speakers of the monthly meetings, and from the issues and discussions that are raised by the chamber members, thereby enabling us to have a comprehensive view of the information that we need to be able to support our plans for running our businesses.
We consider the Davao City Chamber of Commerce and Industry as a very important partner in our advocacy for SME development as well as business development. They have been our partners since the DTI started back in 1987, and we really honed that partnership, develop and strengthen so that we can reach more MSMEs. We have implemented joint projects with the Davao City Chamber of Commerce. We have our SME Center. We have our mentoring of SMEs, as well as We have partnered in several big events such as their institutionalized date and other investment forum activities. And we wouldn't have done it that well without the Davao City Chamber of Commerce.
The Chamber also is giving priority to anything that would improve tourism, in the sense that tourism contributes a lot to what they call inclusive growth. The Davao Chamber is into advocacy to make everyone involved or stakeholders in the port understand how the port is doing and what to expect in the future.
The partnership between the city government and the Davao City Chamber of Commerce has always been grounded on two values, that is on cooperation and on support. They have always been actively engaged in the formulation of programs that has helped propel the business environment of Davao City, seating us among the representatives of the private sector in the different boards and committees of the local government.